Is the left tone policing Trump's joke about Elizabeth Warren? Hey, it's Prince of Queens, and before I start this video, I need to quickly mention that I am in need of funds from my audience, due largely to my channel being barred from uploading videos for 2 weeks, and also wanting to get to the Kilroy event in April. So please, if my videos have offered you insight or help formulating arguments, or if you share my videos with people when you try to make things clear to them, please consider helping me out with a donation. I have a video uploaded yesterday that explains how you can do that, and some actual rewards that you can get for donating. Thanks. Now, on to the video. I imagine most of you have heard by now that Donald Trump met with some Navajo leaders at some place where there was a painting of Andrew Jackson in the background, a historical figure known for killing countless Native Americans, which I agree is a shame that it was in the background, but it's hard to know why exactly that painting was there. He also referred to Elizabeth Warren as Pocahontas during the meeting. Obviously, nobody explained to him that the correct shitlord terminology for Elizabeth Warren is woke-ahontas, or maybe he is actually an avid social media junkie even more than we realize and sits around reading 4chan every night, but felt that the Navajo elders wouldn't know what woke is supposed to mean. Regardless, despite the fact that he was trying to be serious and sound respectful to a council of Native American elders that he repeatedly said that he greatly admires, he couldn't help himself and just had to throw in a wisecrack making fun of Elizabeth Warren. Because he's Donald Trump, the man America decided they would prefer to be our president over Hillary Clinton. Personally, I'm torn on whether or not he should have done this. On the one hand, in a perfect world, he would have come up with a completely graceful and poetic way to mention that Elizabeth Warren has, at numerous times in her career, claimed to be Native American, despite looking as white as Elsa from Frozen. He definitely sounded a bit like an ass, I'll grant critics that. However, despite the fact that I did not vote for Trump and I would have gladly voted for a presidential politician with a bit more tact and diplomacy, the hyperbolic reaction from the left about this joke is forcing me yet again to defend Donald Trump a little bit. You see, if we strip away the inappropriateness of both the way he phrased his critique of Elizabeth Warren and the time and place that he chose to deliver this critique, what Donald Trump was doing was nothing more than what SJWs would refer to as a call-out. He called out Warren for something that could be objectively seen as rather racist. A quick Google search for white passing person of color will bring up several articles about how people who look white, despite being slightly mixed, are privileged, and how these people basically have white privilege. So granted, whether or not Elizabeth Warren really is 1/64th Cherokee, which is doubtful, and despite the fact that I am not sure if any of these articles explicitly tell white passing people of color not to use their genetic heritage to their advantage in their careers, in spite of all of that, we can definitely safely assume that there's a few full-blooded Native American or African American people who don't appreciate women like Elizabeth Warren potentially using affirmative action to her advantage in her career. It could easily be said that Warren was doing something racist by taking advantage of a system designed to help a historically marginalized population. Therefore, Donald Trump could easily be said to have been drawing attention to the racist manipulation of affirmative action laws and publicity that Warren took advantage of as a white woman, or at least a mostly white woman. She was a white woman abusing her privilege on the backs of the oppressed, after all, some might say. Did Trump point this out nicely? Did he even point this out well, eloquently, poetically, in a way that I approve of? No, he didn't. But he certainly started a conversation, so maybe you shouldn't tone police him. Maybe Donald Trump doesn't care about your respectability politics, and he'd rather call out racism whenever he sees it, in whatever way he feels will get the most attention. Truthfully, it does seem to be that as time goes on, more and more people are noticing the swift, swinging, double-edged pendulum coming back with a vengeance and beginning to slice the left quite hard in terms of identity politics being constantly brought up and weaponized. People in glass houses obviously shouldn't throw stones. So when you have a bunch of people who sit around all day making fun of Donald Trump for having a tacky artificial tan and looking like a Cheeto, it's kind of silly that these same people are pretending to be super upset because Trump rightly criticizes Elizabeth Warren for using her alleged and certainly invisible genetics when it was convenient for her career. When you have both systemic perks like affirmative action combined with endless, obvious social benefits attached to being a minority, which have been very deliberately put into place by the left, there will undoubtedly be people who end up dishonestly using these things to their advantage, like Rachel Dolezal, for example. I run into people regularly who claim to be people of color but are obviously white and use their alleged status as a minority as leverage in arguments. So I say this, even if you really like Elizabeth Warren, and even if she does absolutely great work as a politician, which is debatable, but let's assume for the sake of argument that Elizabeth Warren is a goddess in the House of Representatives. If Warren really is so awesome, she honestly should find a good way of clearing this up so that people who ridicule her for having claimed to be Native American once upon a time look as if they are being 100% petty if they ever bring it up. Because truthfully, it does look like they have a point when they criticize her for this. You can disapprove of Trump's demeanor all you want, but don't be under any delusions about the fact that you are tone policing him for drawing attention to something that we could agree upon, or at least speculate, is pragmatically racist. It's a pragmatically racist thing to do, which could have definitely led to a legitimately disadvantaged individual losing an opportunity because a white woman decided to cheat the system. That's all I have to say for this video. Stay tuned.